Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to KHM Today, your weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn Orff, and today is August 23rd, 2023. I hope you're all having a fabulous week so far. I just returned from Nashville as I dropped my child off at her second year of college. So I'm thinking of all of you that are putting kids on planes, trains, they're driving, they're getting on school buses, or some of them are just walking to school. So I'm thinking of all of you during this time as we send those kiddos off on to another incredible school year. Let's talk about a little bit of news going on. I was just speaking with our colleagues before we came on about Maui. A new decisive decision report has been put out there. So take a look at the Visitors Bureau's site. Travel to West Maui is absolutely off limits until you know, until a much later date. We're probably thinking 2024. But South Maui and other areas of the island are still open and they are encouraging travel. So if you have clients that are booked, they are saying please send them. They need this tourism. I've called a couple myself in the South Maui area, and they are saying operations are going as usual. So, don't be afraid to pick up those phones if you have any questions. Everyone's been really, very lovely that I've spoken to, and of course, very concerned, but they also need to keep tourism up there. They can't shut down completely. So, talk to your clients and work with your suppliers as you're going through this process. In the coming months, I hope you guys will continue to tune in for segments with our fantastic supplier partners, along with segments about Chat GPT. I know that's a big, big topic going on in the industry right now. Eco travel, travel service level agreements. So this is a great topic. Matt Walgren's going to be back to talk about it. And of course, the new European visa requirement for 2024. So we've got those scheduled for the rest of the year. So we hope you'll tune in. If you guys are online with us right now, I'd love to see you say hello and tell me how you're doing. We've got an incredible show for you today. So I hope everyone is having a great one. My air conditioning did go out yesterday. So if you start to see the sweat come pouring down, you'll know why. And hopefully the gentleman will not come to fix it during the middle of the show. But if he does, we're going to take him and just let him clang away in my basement. You guys, I'm excited for our first guest. She has never been on the show before. With the merger of two powerhouse travel companies, Apple Leisure Group and Hyatt, we now have Hyatt Inclusive Collection. Please welcome Andrea Hilbert to the show for the very first time. Hello, Andrea. How are you?
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. And I'm so excited to be with you today. And thank you for having me as a guest.
You bet. So let's start with education, because as the education manager for KHM, whenever we have an event and agents are asking, how do I get more information on all inclusives? What training should we be doing? The very first place I always send them to is what was AM Resorts Education, because it continues to be so complete. It does not There is no competition in the industry for that level of education. There really isn't. It's complete, it's well thought out. And then on top of that, it's all the resources that go along with it, between the property guides and the resort contacts. It's really pretty phenomenal. Has any of this changed with the merger and being Hyatt Inclusive Collection?
Yes. So first, thank you so much for the kudos. We are officially the largest luxury all-inclusive company in the world now. We currently have approximately 125 resorts in 12 countries. So even I started off as a travel advisor, so I come from a point of dropping my ego and respect for all of you. You are selling the entire world. And even though we're a pretty decent chunk, by world standards, we're a pretty small part of it. So one of the reasons I felt comfortable joining the Inclusive Collection as a BDM is because of our amazing resources. So as you noted, I don't want to joke like all AMR collection, AM Resorts is almost like you put $1 in the swear jar. Everything we were purchased by Hyatt about a year and a half ago. And effective this past December, so just December 2022, we are switching all of our verbiage, even our email addresses, to Hyatt Inclusive Collection. So anybody that was emailing their BDM, you might notice our emails have all changed. Some of our URLs have changed and things like that. When it comes to advisor education, we used to have amragents.com and a rewards component called AM Rewards.
Mhm.
And our training, when advisors would graduate, they used to be called master agents. So all of those sites have sort of been sunsetted. And we actually have not only new content, but brand new technology. Our site originally started in 2014. And I joke, it was like that old bulky cell phone that looked like a
Yeah.
cinder block. It needed to go. So we're very excited that the new advisor platform is called the Confidants Collective. So whether you were an advisor who was active with us before, or I know a lot of new advisors have joined the industry, we do ask all advisors to create a profile on the Confidant site. They'll be able to do the new learning, which is much more interactive than before. It's fun. There's some flip games and match games, so you're not like dozing off, because I know it's a lot of information. And when they graduate that course, they are called certified confidants. So even if they recently did the training under the old system, new login, new training to become a certified confidant, and then our rewards program has been renamed Confidant Rewards as well. So Confidant Collective, Confidant Learning, and Confidant Rewards, all replacing all of the old AMR really resources, if you would.
And I can still find our resort guides there as well, correct?
Well, so I know that this broadcast is open to everybody, and we chatted about this before. So there is a non-password site that I'll let
Okay.
you share with just the KHM agent community, that will provide resources such as resort contacts, the resort product guides, as well as how to find their business development manager. And with Inclusive Collection, your business development manager is based on where the advisor lives. So I know the KHM headquarters is in Ohio, but we at Inclusive Collection want to make sure we're inviting the local advisors who support us to our regional events. So right now I'm in Maryland, and I use our BDM report to find out who lives in Maryland and is supporting me, and that's who gets invited to. In this case, I had a breakfast training, and I'll be having a dinner training later this evening.
Perfect. I will tell you that I think those resort guides are essential, especially with groups,
Mhm.
because I love seeing how many in each room category there are of each room type, right? So if you have a family
Absolutely.
that all wants swim up suites and there's 10, you need 10 and the hotel only has 8, this is not a surprise when you go through and book and find that the last couple can't have it because it doesn't exist. It's not even that it's not available, it doesn't exist on the property. So that's what I always use those product guides for.
Absolutely, and tying it also in not just to category, but bedding within those
Yeah.
categories. So
Yeah.
I know a huge part of the group business, it has become destination weddings. And you may not have families or couples sharing a room for cost purposes. You might have two bridesmaids or two groomsmen. So they may say, hey, I want this oceanfront something other room. Can we get it as a double bed? And it's great for the advisor to be able to say, hey, I appreciate that that's what you're looking for.
Mhm.
This particular category doesn't even exist as a double bedded room. You may want to book two separate rooms or consider another category that has some double bedding or queen bedding for you.
Right. Right. And it's so funny because I feel like that's the only product, the only resort chain that actually gives that information to you clear as day. Everywhere else, it's like, let me see if I could go on a search for this information. It's like a hidden secret a lot of times. And it shouldn't be because it's such a useful tool for us. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone here. Hi, Sam. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Dee. Stacy, I love that it's blazing hot in Texas. It's pretty darn hot here too in Colorado. Sheila, so great to see you. From Maryland.
I see that.
There we
Hi.
go. There we go. All right. So, along with some of these changes, we also have, I feel like over the last couple of years, we took away the Now brand
Hmm.
because some of those renovations made it look just like a Dreams brand. Um,
Yes.
but we have a new brand called Impressions. Where is this? Impressions by Secrets. Tell
Yes.
us a little bit about what that looks like and how that came about.
Thank you so much for bringing that up because originally Impressions started off as a brand extension of Secrets. So, for those of you who may not be familiar with Secrets Resorts are adult only resorts for those guests. All guests have to be 18 and older. Traditionally, Secrets is a little bit more for romantic moments. So, your honeymooners, your anniversaries, your destination weddings that want to be adult only, Secrets was our very first brand. What we found is the clients who were repeat guests of Secrets, they are expecting a little bit more of a luxury experience. So we originally created Secrets Impression, but we found out that that clientele's expectations are so different that our marketing department decided to make Impression its
Mm.
very own separate brand. It's funny because I just went over this today in my training at breakfast. So the main thing, if you look at just big picture, your average Secrets guest is usually between 25 to 54. And again, the average household income's
Mhm.
around 150,000, and they're looking for a luxury experience but okay with a little bit more traditional dining. So for those of you who've been lucky enough to stay at a Secrets, you know that our Italian restaurants are usually called Portofino. The Japanese restaurant is called Himitsu. So more mainline cuisine. The Impression guests are a little bit older to start, so they're a little bit more experienced travelers. They begin at 35 years old, and they're already sort of living that luxury lifestyle. Their household income tends to be closer to 250, and they are looking for more than just the ordinary, and they're looking for more personalized attention. So our two Impression by Secrets resorts that we have are more boutique. We have Impression Moshe, which is about 198 rooms. And then the brand new one, Impression Isla Mujeres, which opened up on the island of Isla Mujeres, is 126 rooms. So it will still be adult only, 18 and older. It is a more luxurious experience. All guests at an Impression have butler service.
Okay.
So that really helps their level of service. And then also the restaurants are definitely more a higher level of cuisine. And we even have some master chefs. So I know we're kind of living in a Barbie world, girl power world. So a shout out to the two master chefs at Impression Moshe. We have Chef Cara, who is the overall chef, and Chef Mara, who actually is the pastry chef. So she went to France and she is an official French chocolatier as well
Oh.
as her other pastry skills. So bring elastic shorts or pants or a dress with no waistband. That's all I'm going to say about it because it is unlimited. So if you want to go two different places to eat plus double dessert, have at it. Chef Mara is a mad genius. I was just at Impression Moshe a few weeks ago, and she created like this brownie with peanut butter and then pretzels with caramel. So it was that
Oh, yeah.
perfect balance of salty and sweet. Like I'm like, forget it. I'm just not even gonna buy pants anymore.
Well, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but Isla has a water slide, which
It
when you
does.
think luxury, I don't think adult water slide, but when you're talking about luxury, different experiences, something that sets a resort apart, yes, a water slide that goes from top into the ocean, if I correct?
Yes, yes.
That's different. That's going to get attention.
And that is reflective. So when we refer to the hotels, we say Impression and then the resort's location and then by Secrets. Because
Mm,
as you know, people who enjoy traveling, you may choose to go to the same brand but in a new location because it holds something special. It sounds weird to hear this, but for my colleagues who work and live on mainland Cancun, they call Isla Mujeres, they're like, oh, that's island life. You usually don't think of island life until you're thinking of deep Caribbean. So the term I've used that I don't know if marketing will like, I call Impression Isla Mujeres lovable luxury because it is a more laid
uh-huh.
back, more
Mhm,
playful with the water slide. So
mhm.
it is maybe a little less formal. Even if you look at pictures online, it's lighter
Right.
woods and bright blues, where Moshe is more, black slate,
Mhm,
tiles and backlit lighting, much more dramatic, much more masculine or
mhm.
sophisticated or city feel. Whereas Impression Isla is more playful and island like.
Well, and I think that's important to have, maybe it's not a total difference, but I know a lot of my clients that are in the luxury market, the last thing they wanna do is feel like they have to dress for the boardroom. while on vacation. So
Mhm.
that is something they want, the experience, they want the amenities, but they don't want that pressure of needing to dress to impress. They
Mhm.
do that
Absolutely.
all the other weeks of the year. When they're on vacation, it's, please let me wear just my Hawaiian shirt and my shorts. Um, let's talk real quick because I know this comes up and you probably said this 10 times this morning in your training, and we'll probably say it 10 times tonight. When we think of Hyatt properties, we're automatically, as travel advisors, going to Hyatt, Ziva, and Zilara.
Mhm.
But these are really not part of the collection as of now.
Yes. So I'm glad you asked that. So big step back. And I did explain this again this morning. So Hyatt, of course, has been in business for quite a many years. For those of you who are familiar that go on to Hyatt.com, you'll see as a company, there are different brands. So for instance, when Hyatt first started with more what I'll call businessy hotels like Hyatt Regencies and things like that, if you were to go on the Hyatt website today, you'll see a collection that says Timeless Collection.
Mhm.
You'll see two other collections as well. And then the bottom bar is the Inclusive Collection. As I shared, Hyatt only purchased us about a year and a half ago, but they realized, just like when we all think of personal finances, diversification is key to growth. So they said, hey, a lot of our product is business centric. Let's try to get into the leisure market. So many years ago, Playa Corporation worked with Hyatt to allow the Zivas and Zalaras to franchise the Hyatt name. So, for any advisors that are looking for specific information on the Hyatt Ziva Zalara, even though they are franchising the Hyatt name, the Playa BDM team and sales team really speaks to that. A year and a half ago, the Hyatt team said we would like to have a wider variety of leisure products. So, they actually bought what was AM Resorts as well as ALGV. So we're in an odd time right now where, because we are all inclusive properties as a collection, we all fall into that bottom bar on the Hyatt website, which is the Hyatt Inclusive Collection.
Perfect. And then the next question that we always ask is, what about points, points, points? They've never been earned as when you book as a third party. Um,
Yes. So speaking
will that
for
change?
so we're taking away the any benefits that advisors have. So we are talking about customer benefits.
Right.
So for somebody who is a World of Hyatt member, meaning they're earning points every time they stay at a Hyatt Regency or Hyatt Place XYZ, travel advisors, if they wish their clients to earn World of Hyatt points, do have to book directly with either Hyatt or Inclusive Collection. Um, Most people never read anything, myself included. If anyone looks at any major hotel's terms and conditions for frequent stay points, it will say that the stay cannot be paid for by a third party. So all tour operator partners would be considered a third party. Um, but again, advisors may choose to book those directly if the priority for their guest is to earn more World of Hyatt points. For some guests, they realize there is a value sometimes that the package pricing is a better deal through their preferred tour operator partner. So the clients are like, well, I'm getting a better overall value, and they may forego the points. So it's just one of those things. It's a conversation advisors can have with their guests if they bring up World of Hyatt points for themselves.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you guys so much. We look forward to furthering our partnership with you and hearing more about you guys in some of the training events we have coming up. But we're just really excited to have you as part of the team.
Well, thank you so much for your support. We have grown from one hotel 20 years ago to 125 hotels in
Yeah.
12 countries. And I will say 94% of our business is from the travel advisor community. You guys do an amazing job making sure you match your clients with the right hotel for them. So thank you for that support and continued growth. We love being your partners.
Well, and I think based on the fact that there are so many great categories of hotels, it makes it very easy to figure out where to put that client and where the fit's going to be best. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your week and good luck tonight.
Thank you so much. You too.
All right, you guys. Hello, April. So nice of you to tune in. Karen, great to see you. Andrea, you can find out who your BDM is for Washington, D.C. On the the website that we are going to post. So we'll post it on the Facebook group. So you'll be able to check there. We can't post it here because it's a non-password protected site, and we want to make sure that that is confidential information. All right, you guys, next up, I'm super excited for this trio to come on. Please welcome Marcus Williams, Laurence Pinckney, and Cestaine Glover, three fantastic agents that are here. I am all tongue-tied today. I feel like it's the heat, right? It's getting to me. I'm starting to sweat, but you guys are here to help us celebrate Black Business Month. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy, busy days, because I know you guys are crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit.
I got 15 minutes to give you, girl, and that's it. So I'm so excited that you guys are here. When we think of success, I immediately think of you three. Tell me what you think you can attribute your success in the travel industry to. Is it hard work? Is it great clients? Is it all of the above? Marcus, let's start with you.
For me, I would say it would be the hard work, consistency, and customer service. Just being available for my clients and pretty much staying consistent from day one till almost year 9.
And when you talk about consistency, are we talking about that product or just how you manage your business, how you speak to your clients?
I would say the product and how I manage. One of my things is before I became a travel agent, I worked with a travel agent. And just the fact of what I hated with that travel agent, I try not to do with my clients.
I find that so interesting because that's actually how I ended up starting in this business too. Yeah, and I think that resonates with a lot of people. Cestaine, what about you? What do you think you can attribute your success to in this industry?
Gosh, I think it's like what Marcus said. I think it's a little bit of everything. I try to provide a service that they're not going to get when they book on their own, and an expertise that they might not have. And I'm always here. And if I don't know, I'm not afraid to ask the questions. I stand on the shoulders of these two guys, so I'm very new, and but I work really hard at it. And as you know, this is my second
Yes.
job, but I do work really hard at it, and I think my clients see that.
I think that's probably something that I feel like goes a little underrated when we talk about successful agents, is the idea that you work really hard at it. It sounds so simple, but that really is the message. Laurence, how would you say you define that you work really hard at this? Like, what does that mean to you?
Well, I travel a lot. I think that it's important not only to be able to look at through the searches and stuff, you really need to know the product. Depending on the specialty, if I have a very diverse portfolio, so I do international, Africa, Egypt, in addition to the Caribbean, and I do a mix of cruises, etc. So it's important to know what you're selling. And like Marcus, both of them said, you have to be available. Luckily for me, I'm probably 98% referral only. So mostly all of my clients come from referrals, which saves a lot of time because you're not, just dealing with people that don't know how you work. So they kind of know when they come to us what they get. So yeah, and hard work is definitely something we all do and take it very seriously. And with KHM, we have the resources to back it up.
Recently, we had at Destination Success, we had a panel of agents that spoke to their communication with clients. What do you feel has been kind of the game changer for you as far as, speaking to clients, making that connection? Are you more digital versus conversational? Do you pick up the phone? How does that work for each of you?
Me personally, I'm a little both. I still do courtesy calls 2 days before departure. So pretty much I keep in contact with all of my clients. Kind of a little bit of hand holding, but I'm there. I'm available. I stay in contact with them through the whole process.
Cestaine, are you the same?
I think for me, I'm a little bit of everything. I start all of my clients, even the referrals, with a Google Meet. So there's a face to face. They get to see who they're working with. I get to tell them about my background, what I bring to the table, and why they should book with me.
Mm,
And then there is a lot of electronics. And then I have traveled extensively as well. And I know sometimes, like when I was in Cuba at the airport, and the woman said, "No, your husband does not have a ticket." And I said, "I promise you he does." And she said, "No, he does not." And I was able to pull out my hard copy. I provide that to clients that
mm,
that need it, because I know it's a comfort level, in case something happens, if your phone isn't working in an airport or something like that. And so I try to give them everything, whether it's digital, whether it's whether it's just paper documentation. But I try to be all of that. But I really like that face to face, that initial. And like Marcus said, I do a prior to departure Google Meet again. Let's go
mhm.
through your trip. Let's make sure we understand where you're going to meet people, where you're going to meet drivers, where your excursion is, so that someone's not getting in country and trying to figure it out. And also that that in travel number, they need to know you're going to call that person, then you're going to text or call me.
Mhm, mhm. Good. Laurence, anything to add?
I might have to start first because they're taking all the good stories. But it speaks, I think, to the KHM philosophy too. So all of us pretty much do it a little differently, but the basic philosophy is there. I do like to talk to people, especially if it's my own group,
Yeah.
because group dynamics can be very interesting. So it's kind of interesting to talk to people and kind of see, how many on the good side and how many might be a little bit of trouble. So you can kind of deal with that first. But with the technology that we have, also, the happy birthdays is a big thing. I mean, a lot of people really appreciate that and their anniversaries. So staying in touch with them that way too. But I do feel that accessibility is probably every travel advisor's
Mm,
best weapon,
thank you.
because my name. You can call me on WhatsApp. I got a call this morning from Budapest. She's like, "Lawrence, what do we do when we get to Verona or whatever? Do we put our bag here or what do we do?" And I was able to call rail bookers, get them the answer, and then they go on with their trip. So I think that's whichever way it comes, the fact that you are in communication makes us different
Mhm.
than OTAs.
Yeah. I had a client recently ask me if I ever slept, because
Yeah,
no matter what time they texted, I answered. Now, of course, that's during travel, but it was very funny when I, you know,
right,
reached out to them, and his response was, "I know what time it is there. Do you
right,
ever sleep?" And
right,
I couldn't sleep until I knew that this one thing was taken care of. So I might as well just fix it, because it's gonna make me crazy
right,
until I do.
right, right,
Um,
right.
as successful Black business owners, do you feel like you have hit any roadblocks or struggled in certain areas? And if so, like, what have you done to overcome those challenges?
Can I start?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's flip that dialogue. Why don't we ask the question as successful business people who
Sure.
happen to be Black? It's a
Okay.
big difference. So for me, one of my pet peeves, I had a situation, I'm not going to mention the cruise line, but I went to do a big family reunion on a cruise. And so instead of making my own, I said, "Oh, let me go to the supplier site and pull it down." And all I could find was a Caucasian family. That's it, that I could use within this promotion. That's a big problem for me.
Mm,
African American, Hispanic people, we give a lot of money to the travel business. As travel advisors, we should not have to scourge to find like-minded imagery. So I think the suppliers are starting. There's some I can name that are doing an excellent job, and some need to improve it. But for me, that's really important that any of us should be able to go to that supplier's page. And if we can pull a white family, we should be able to pull a Black family or an Asian family. That's my
So
point.
so what did you do? You have this group, you're trying to promote it. What did you know, what did you do in order to solve that problem?
Well, I mean, that's my issue, right? So I still sent it out because time is of the essence. So I sent it out like that, but I already knew the blowback and I got it. So I went to the KHM powers that be and said,
Mm-hmm.
this can't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I do what I can to push that initiative. I'm also
Right.
an advisory board for Travel Weekly and Travel Post. So we're doing stuff in the background too to do it.
Mm-hmm. But I guess the alternative, even though it was time sensitive, was you have to create your own, which is not ideal.
No.
Yeah.
The alternative is to keep my Malcolm X philosophy and keep going till we get what we need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But you also have this group. So
Oh,
what do you do about that?
it's good. No, not as many people on the consumer side, and you guys can speak to this too, are necessarily as sensitive to that. They trust us to give them the experience. My point is, we should not have to
Absolutely.
represent a brand and have that.
Okay. Marcus or Cestaine?
So for me, that will be one of the issues, but I kind of use my own family, my pictures, my clients send videos. So I'll use that to promote. Um, Pretty much a lot of my stuff is personal, what I use for promoting. Because for me, I like to give more of a personal touch and more realistic than something that they're finding online. So I'll use my stuff. So that's probably one of the, like, I agree, that's one of the issues, but I found a work around it that I use personal stuff. And a lot of my clients do send pictures and videos. So I'll market with that.
Huh. And they're good with that. Your family
Yes.
loves it.
Hmm?
They love being on the billboard.
Yes.
And Cestaine, anything to add?
I think about what Laurence has said, and I think any Black travel advisor has had this issue. It is a prevalent one in the industry. I do appreciate the brands that are addressing it. There are some brands that are addressing it like head on and really going for it, and I'm grateful for that. I think also with my clients, I try to make sure that whether they are of color or disabled or have anything, I try to make sure that I am sensitive enough and do the work to make sure that their experience is going to be a good one. You can't control everything, but I do try to make sure that I've done the research to make sure that they're in a setting that is going to be conducive to having African American travelers. But that marketing piece is big, and it's really nice to see some suppliers nowadays really addressing it and addressing it. And there's one that is, I spoke with their marketing director at the Astor River Cruise, and she is taking the bull by the horns, and she is phenomenal, and she is determined to make this work, to offer a river cruise for Black people to go to France. I mean, for her company, it was huge. But she's done it, and not just did it, she did it well and sold out. So I think it speaks to the fact that what Laurence is saying, Black travelers are there, and yes, they are smart and they have the funds and they want to have those great experiences as well. And sometimes it's important for us to have those experiences that through a lens that we can appreciate.
Very good. What do you think, Marcus, one of the things, and we had the opportunity to sit down and chat a little bit when we were in Las Vegas, and I love the fact that people just like to travel with you.
Yes.
And Laurence, I think this is kind of your selling point as well. People like to travel with you. So what is it about you and Cestaine, I don't know this about you. So if people like to travel with you as well, let me know. But what is it that goes on that people really just join you no matter where you go?
Laurence, you want to go first?
It's well, let me say this. I think what I started about 15 years ago, I started with groups, and I was about Marcus's age then. And so then it would be a lot of people. Like everything had to be big, 250, whatever on a cruise, 150. And the older I got, the more, for me personally, it was more curated. So my numbers, the things that I do now personally are much smaller, which works for me. And of course, my clientele on the personal brand side are older now, so we don't have to do that. But I think it's what we talked about before. It's attention to detail. It's not just grabbing people's money and pushing them somewhere.
Mhm.
It's really curating and thinking and visiting the destination so you know exactly what you're going to do. And then for me now, most of my business, I only do 2 trips a year personally for
Mhm.
me, but the majority of my business is doing those groups for other people, which I like. So,
Very good. Marcus, but people
mhm.
still just love you.
Okay, so for me, it's when you think about groups, especially like a lot of groups, I would say party groups or whatever. The person who's putting the group together, they mainly focus on getting people in and how many people they can get to book. So they always, I would say, dilute the trip. They'll book a cheap property just to get the people to book. And just for to say I have all these people, me personally, I would like to get as many people as possible, but I refuse to dilute my brand.
Mm.
So in that whole process, it's going to be a nice hotel or a nice resort, and everything is going to be planned out to the T, from the excursions to the dinners to the happy hours or whatever the case may be. They know for a fact that I'm not going to, especially the clients that follow me on social media, knows I'm not going to lay anywhere. So they know it's going to be a great property. Um, and they follow me. A lot of my clients follow me on all my social sites. So they see where I like to stay or where I take my family or my wife or whatever, and they like it. And so far, like my groups are continuing to build every year.
So I love the word dilute.
Mhm.
I'm going to write that down and steal it because so I talked at the top of the show about a segment we're going to do in a couple weeks called service level agreements. And it's that same thing. Like, what can the client expect? Just because they're asking for it doesn't mean you have to book it.
Right.
If you're not comfortable with it, why do you want to sell something that you personally don't want to stay at?
And
And
I,
that doesn't mean that, everyone has their own budget. Your budget doesn't have to be their budget, but you have to feel good about the product. Otherwise, in my opinion, step away and say, you are welcome to book that on your own, but I don't feel comfortable with it. And here's why. I think you have to give the why. But I love that word dilute.
yeah, so I told all my clients, even in the beginning, like new clients, I wouldn't quote you anything or book you anywhere I wouldn't stay.
Yeah.
And that's off the rip.
And it's okay that you find it on this random website, but I still don't want to go there. Yeah. I just think that's fantastic. Um, Cestaine, you have another successful career.
A little
Why
bit.
add this on top of it? What is it about this industry that has you saying, let me do both?
Well, I started this in my mind. When I initially started this, I said, well, you know what? Let me start this. And by the time I'm ready to retire, it'll be up and running.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. And Carolyn, when I got to Boot Camp 2.0 and Bill said, what do you want to get out of this? And I said, how do I do this? Because I didn't know what was coming. I had no idea what it would be. And I'm absolutely grateful. It's a wonderful experience. It's a lot, but I absolutely love it. And I came to it because when I thought about retirement, I knew it needed to be something that I enjoyed doing. I had my a business, a successful law practice for many years before I joined the federal government. And I knew my next business needed to be not stressful. It needed not to be that. And so, of course, travel. I love to do it. I travel a lot. And this way, I thought, okay, this should be good. It is stressful, but it's a different kind of stress. It's a stress that I kind of invite, and I'm always telling my clients, if something is happening, let me know. I need to know because I can't fix it if I don't know. but I enjoy it so much too. I love getting to meet new people, and I have met so many new people
Yeah.
between suppliers and destinations. And I wholeheartedly agree with what Lawrence said, and I say this to clients too. I'm a travel advisor that travels. I travel an awful lot because I want to be able to talk to destinations. And no, I can't get to every place. But when I do get to a place, I work hard when I get there. I try to meet with suppliers. I try to go to restaurants. I try to talk to people because I want to make sure that when I'm sending people there, that they really have a sense of what I'm getting, and the culture, and really what they can appreciate there.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's why I decided to do the two, and I just didn't think it would be this at this point. But
But I
it's so
think
much fun.
that's the coolest part, is that you've all spoken about what it is to take to be successful, and innately you have those characteristics. And so it was, to me, if you had walked into a room the very first time and sat down and we started doing this at Boot Camp 1.0, I would have said, "Oh, yep, give her 6 months."
Thank
Because
you.
there are characteristics of a successful agent, and all 3 of you embody those, um, just naturally. I think there are some that can be learned, and there are some that are very natural.
Well, thank
There
you.
is an agent who is brand new, and wants to know, what advice would you give to those that are just starting out, who feel like the client knows more about cruising, for example, than the agent? What would you say to That's a great
It's
question,
a,
a really
I
great
want to
it's a,
hear
it's a,
Marcus's response.
oh, yeah.
So
Let's
for
let's let
me,
you
I would
start
just
with.
get with the one, fake until you make it. I would always, like, for me with Carnival, I started off big with Carnival, and I made that connection with Chris. So anytime I had an issue or needed some help, I'll reach out to my BDM. So when it came down to the clients, if I didn't know something, because I was just starting to cruise myself, I will always contact the BDM, try to get any information I could, or go on Carnival's website and just research.
Mhm.
Because the problem, like, the whole thing is researching it. That's true until you get to where you need to be. Like, everyone like us, I know, like me and Laurence, we both travel a lot. So everyone's not doing that right now, or starting off traveling all the
Mhm.
time. So just use your resources. KHM has a great agent portal with all type of information in for the suppliers that you can be able to contact any BDM that you're looking for.
I can't echo that enough. Use your resources. There are so many available to you. Absolutely. Lawrence and Cestaine, what would you say to this agent?
I think for me, I just try to communicate to people that, yes, I appreciate that you've done it. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about, what your concerns are, and, what do you think I can bring to the table? Because maybe it's nothing, and maybe you're not my client. Um,
Mhm.
when I started my law practice, I became very comfortable with recognizing everybody's not your client. And that's okay. It's totally okay to say, you know what, this probably isn't the best, for us. Um, but I always appreciate, conversations from clients about what their experience has been, because it may have been something different from mine.
Mhm.
I just did 12 days in Alaska with the cruise tour, and it is not like anything anybody ever described to me in any agent portal at KHM. Nothing like what anybody described. Nothing like it. But it was one of those things. I'm so glad I experienced it, because that is not something you can just easily relay. It's a difficult thing to kind of experience
Yeah.
every single day at a new location for 8 days, and then you get on the ship for 4. It's a little different.
That's definitely different than the typical cruise tour. I think what's so powerful about what you said was that not every client has to be yours, and ask that client why they need your assistance.
Mhm.
I had someone recently just last week, and she found me. It was one of those funny referrals, and it was from my website, oddly enough. I think in 15 years I've gotten a notification for one of those forms 4 times. So I was like, the first thing I said to her is, "How did you find me?" And she found me on one of those next door things. 4 or 5
Ah,
people had recommended me, so she found my website, sent me an email, and we chatted last week, and she said, "Well, my husband and I did Rome and Florence and the Amalfi Coast over the summer." And I said, "Okay, well, if you've done that before, why me? Why do you feel like you need me?" And so we talked about that. And I've got lots of clients that are very, very well traveled, and I ask them, what is it that you need from me? You seem to get this, right? What is
Yes.
it that you want from me? And 9 times out of 10, especially my cruisers that book everything on board, and then I just get the email and say, "Wait," enter it into the CRM and collect the commission. It's peace of mind that I have their back.
Mhm.
And so someone might know more about cruising than you, and it's okay. If they're willing to give you a shot to do that booking, it might just be peace of mind or that 24-hour presence that they need with you. And if that's it, take it. Maybe they don't need you to be the encyclopedia.
Mhm.
I think that's a loaded question, so I can't see how it was written. So it could be a number of things, but I think you all pointed to the main thing. It's qualifying. That first phone call, which I personally do. If I can't talk to you, we're not going anywhere. We have to talk, right?
Mhm.
On that first phone call. And that what I read from what I heard from what you asked or she asked was that yes, if don't be afraid as a new agent to ask the question.
Yeah.
What's the budget is the big thing. Well, I don't know. I don't have a budget. Oh, you don't. So if I come back and I say to you, it's $50,000, no problem, right? Oh, well, I didn't mean 50. Well,
What
so
did you
so
mean?
that's the main thing. It's important that if it could be you feeling insecure and think that they're saying they know more than you, or so just ask the question. And if, in fact, at the end of the day, you ask the right questions and listen, this is the other
Mhm.
thing, because I have some sub agents, it's a big battle. They're telling you something. I'm not spending a dime more than $8,000. No, if you spend eight, you can spend 10. It's just whether, right? Is that right? Somebody tell me I'm wrong, right? That number is not definite. If I can make you spend five, if you say eight and we do it for five, great, it's no problem. But you have to be able to feel confident. And as Marcus said, if you don't know, which I just found out, you guys, in some forum that somebody was complaining about something, and some agent said, "Oh, KHM has forms. They have these great forms that, as a new agent, you just pull them down, get them to fill it out, and it gives you all the qualifying questions." It's brilliant, and I just found that 2 weeks ago.
They're there,
So
Lawrence. They're there. But I will say the forms are there. The conversation has to go along with the form.
absolutely,
The form,
absolutely.
in my mind, is for you to fill out while you're having that
Well,
conversation with the client. I
that's
don't,
exactly what I'm
yep.
saying.
It's so important
No,
nowadays because I will tell you, I did not start really my business with a lot of conversation over the phone. A lot was done via email, and that has just so it has dramatically shifted over the years. Um, this great advice. Thanks so much. It's wonderful to have access to so many years of experience. So well done, you guys.
I have something to add to that.
Absolutely.
So one of the things too is like going to the meetups or FAMs and building your agent community. Like I
Mhm.
have so many friends that I can call out on that can assist me with Europe because I haven't been that many times. Just being able to assist me on any aspect of something. Like I could call someone right now for Greece because
Mhm.
they've been. It's
right,
just building that
right.
your community around you as well that'll help you through the whole process of building your business.
Yeah. So invest in your business, invest in your community, invest in travel. It's not overnight, right?
No.
It
No.
takes time and hard work, a lot of hard work.
And I have one more shout out. We're looking for young people to come and join this business.
Yeah.
I wish when I was 20, I knew about this business because it is something that you can do full time, of course, but
Mhm.
also part time and
Mhm.
build up.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about 19, 20, 21, 20. Get into this. And people like, I know Marcus, you have quite a few
Yes.
agents with you that are younger, right? So I
Yes.
need to call you to find out how I can get them. With the energy,
Yeah.
Th-
Yes. Mhm.
Mhm.
So it's there.
I love it. You guys, thank you so much for being here today. 3 incredible, successful business owners, and their words of advice relate to each and every one of us online, within and without outside KHM. We're really, really lucky to have you 3 as part of the team. And, I look forward to seeing you guys in person sometime soon, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah,
Minneapolis?
yeah.
No, I will not be there.
Oh man.
But soon.
Okay.
Crystal. We'll see you.
Yes, Crystal.
Perfect. You guys, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thanks,
Good luck
Kara.
to you and happy selling.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Teresa
Bye-bye.
Tillman, I love that. Your life and money matters. Yes, it absolutely does. Your life and money absolutely matter. You guys, fantastic conversations today. I just love it. Our agents are a wealth of knowledge. And so absolutely, the words of advice here is create your community. And to do that, especially if you're a KHM agent, attend some of our in-person events, get to know agents, get to know the KHM staff. And, if you're outside of KHM, show up at your own industry events, your own agency events, show up at ASTA, CLIA events. All of them will benefit your business. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Apple Leisure Group, for being our overall sponsor, along as with several of our other sponsors. Next week, we have a special host. You're going to welcome Sarah Mayfield, a new member of the education team. And she will be joined by Lauren Harris from Virgin Voyages, along with several of our staff members who are on Virgin Voyages this week. So don't forget to tune in next week at 3 p.m. on our YouTube channel. Thanks so much, you guys. Have a great rest of your day.